network for the strong, not the weak.
No escaping this. 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 No escaping this.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escaping.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escaping.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escaping.
No one's ready to deal with us.
You are listening to the End of the Bridge podcast on Built for This Network, hosted by my man, HRap.
This revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First you tell us that it is manly to keep your word. Alright? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well then, show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well then, stick to your word. And let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man. You're a word. You're afraid of us. You're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you. And if that's what you're afraid of, then tell us what you're afraid of. But don't keep hiding it from us and holding this up to us. And every time we ask you for something, you give us a little bit of something. And it's all tokenism. We don't want tokenism. And there are most black men in this world that don't want charity. And yet still every time we ask you for something, you give us a little piece, a little piece. You're playing games with us. We're not children. We're big men. I've seen my father have to put up with all kinds of stuff. He was a big man. He raised a family. He went down south, and he had to go around to the back door with his wife. We're not asking for anything. We're not asking for any favors. All we want is what's ours. Now, there are many black veterans who are coming back, and they're mad. They're angry. Do you think that they're going to sit down through this? Our fathers didn't have the knowledge that we have. They sat through it. But there are other black youth that are not going to sit through it. We know about Che. We know about Fanon. We've read the books of our revolution. We've listened to Mao and his quotations. We know where we stand. We're not going to sit for it. We're asking, and if we ask and we don't get, we're prepared to stand up and take it. If I ask a man, I tell a man I am hungry. I tell him I am cold. And I ask him to do something about my condition. And this man holds a loaf of bread right in front of me so I can see it. And I keep asking him, I'm begging him to please give me a slice of the loaf of bread. I am hungry. Then it is known by every psychologist that the next step in the progression is I am going to knock him upside the head and take the bread from him. I'm not going to starve to death. All we're asking, no one wants to see blood. No one likes the smell of blood. No one wants war. Anyone who's been in war doesn't want war. Everyone knows what it is to see the inside of a man's gut hanging out and see your friends die, see relatives die. No one wants to regress back to the state of mind where you have to think it's all for the cause, therefore my mother has to die, my wife has to die, my brothers and sisters have to die. No one wants that. But you're pushing us to it. You're leaving us no choice. We're asking, we're begging. The students up in Colombia, they ask. The brothers down south ask. The brothers in Latin America, the brothers in Africa, they're all asking. All they're doing is asking. Our fathers asked. Our grandfathers asked. The presidents of our universities, our colleges had to go to your back doors to beg that their children be given just enough money so that they could be taught something to live off. And yet still they ask and ask and ask, and you refuse to give them anything. Now, we're just about out of patience. We're not going to ask anymore. The news media says that it's only the young that are militant, only the young that want this and want that. Okay, but we're 40% of the black population now. Or we were a year ago, and still yet we're climbing. Before long, we'll be 50%, 55%, and then we'll have the command. We're not going to take it. We're not going to take sitting in rotten parks and in places that just aren't fit for living. We're not going to take it. There's a limit to a man's patience, and everyone knows that God, Christ, heaven, everyone knows that what we're asking is not $1 million. What we're asking for is humanity. We're asking to be allowed to live like human beings. And God, you tell us that this is too much to ask. You're sick. You're definitely sick. How can you tell me that it's too much to ask to be a human being?
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, and wherever it applies. This is your man HRap coming at you live and direct. This is Built for This Network. This is live on Built for This Network as well as YouTube. This is the End of the Bench podcast. I am your host. Thank you for tuning in. It's going to be an interesting show again and again and again and again. We are talking about how this is a series of conversations about us, by us, and how to improve us and keep us in a good space. The brother that you saw before the show, or you just got through watching, is an interesting brother. And it's an interesting situation because for whatever reason, we seem to believe that what we're going through now is different from what we were going through 50 years ago. And as he just stated, it's not different. There's a lot of people that think, hey, man, we're different. We've advanced certain things that we're not dealing with anymore. And that's just not the case. You heard it. Another thing I want to address about what he said is this. We seem to believe that our young brothers are doing something different today than they were doing 50 years ago. And the movement has always been headed by and large, by the younger people. Dr. King, when he started, 26 years old. 26 years old. 26 years old. And Dr. King started a movement. Well, he was part of a movement. He was the face of a movement. Medgar Evers wasn't older. Now, our ancestor and brother and elder, the great Malcolm X, he was older due to the circumstances that he had to pass through. But that's not a real situation. When you look at the Black Panther Party for self-defense, these were younger people. Younger people have the energy. Younger people have the fervor. Younger people want change because they are not willing to accept what's coming in their direction. Like older people, we get relaxed, we get comfortable, and we put ourselves in situations to whereas, hey, we accept some things that we shouldn't. Now, at this point, if you're older than 35, you should be looking at our young brothers and sisters and attempting to guide them. If you're not trying to guide them, then what are you doing? You are not doing them any good. See, they don't know what you know, but you don't have the energy they have. Therefore, these two things go hand in hand. Your knowledge and their energy produces something that is called change. And when you get change in most cases, when you're talking from a revolutionary sense or a perspective of equality, that invokes something different. It puts you in the best possible situation that you can be in. Therefore, we must work hand in hand. If we're not working hand in hand, we're wasting each other's time because our young people need us and we need change because we're tired of living in these situations, and then we move forward in that manner. With that being said, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Please hit that like button, whether you're on the Spreaker.com side or you're on the YouTube side. Either way, subscribe. And if you're on the YouTube side, subscribe and use the bell so you get a notification each and every time I activate this page. And that way you won't miss any of the content. And always remember, this is a podcast. And the reason I remind you every week this is a podcast is because there's no such thing as I missed your show, because this is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you're on Spreaker.com, Built for This Network, or on YouTube, theendofthebench.com, YouTube, Built for This Network as well. Built for This Network is also on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, and Podcast Addict. These are the outlets in which, if you're unable to complete the show today, you can either use the link that you have, or you can come back to any of those outlets and listen to the show at your leisure, 15 minutes at a time, 20 minutes at a time, an hour at a time, or however you choose to digest the information that I'm about to disseminate. And again, thank you for tuning in. As I start off every show, you know how I start off every show. I acknowledge my family. Without my family, I am nothing. My ancestors, as well as my present family who are in the realm that we're in currently. That is everybody that's included in the Whitmore family: Pollard, Turner, Battle, Cotton, Harper, Bailey, Shaw, Thompson, Chris, Lansdowne, Liggins, Duncan, and you know me, my mother, my father, my brothers, sisters, nieces, and nephews. We are the Williams clan. We're in the building. And that's how we get going. Now, with that being said, I want to thank everybody who's in the chat room real fast. I want to thank D Great. I want to thank Tiki. I want to thank my man Joe and Latanya Childs. Thank you guys for tuning in. Look, this is going to be an interesting day. Look, man, we've had an insanely interesting week. We've had highs and lows. This week started off with the commemoration, because it wasn't a celebration. It was a commemoration of our ancestors being under attack by the United States federal government. They call it the Tulsa Massacre. A lot of people say, hey, man, you know, why are we looking at that? Why are we looking at that? We got other things that we could be talking about. There's other things, blah, 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 yakety smackety, right? But we must start and always look at the past, because we learn from our past in order to not make the same mistakes, or to prepare for the future, because we're living in a time in which our government is under attack. The government is under attack, because I'm forced to say the government, simply because in order for it to be our, we must be included, and people are doing their very best not to include us, right? And when you're doing your very best not to include me into your government structure, your governance structure, what I have to do is create a universe that is my own, whether it be inside or outside the United States of America. That's just the way it works. You can, oh man, my grandfather, and all they did what they had to do, and I'm gonna stay here, and you know all that stuff that we do, and I'm not begrudging any of those statements, but you have to understand. You have people in the United States federal government and the United States state governments throughout the United States that are doing everything they can to destroy the life that you have currently. And I'm not being, a shout out to my sister, Laree Favor, she uses this term on a regular, hyperbolic. I'm not being hyperbolic. These people are doing everything they can to put you back in bondage. So what we're going to have to do is this. Since they want to take it back to the 1850s, and strip you of all your rights and make sure you can't vote, so they can do what they want to do to maintain control of this country. Once they maintain control of this country, they want to start controlling who you are. You have a guy who's the former president who lost, who created a lie, and you have a lot of people who are uninformed and ignorant. It's all outdoors, and they are buying into that premise. So look, you can put your head in the sand. You can not watch the news because it's depressing. You can do a lot of things. You can do whatever you want. But understand, the creator of the universe has inspired me. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for Courtney Harper. Thank you, my man, #1 Chief Rocket Jersey Burn. You know, the creator of the universe has inspired me to get you this information. What you do with it is on you. If you choose not to listen, not to acknowledge what I'm saying, and not to prepare yourself when these things come down the pipe. Just understand, you'll be sitting somewhere hearing my voice in your head and hearing others' voices in your head saying, damn, I should have prepared. Or you can do what you have to do to make sure you are prepared to survive what is on its way. And that's just the simple and honest truth. You have states throughout the United States of America who are doing everything humanly possible to ensure that your rights will be violated. Your what they call constitutional rights, which should actually be human rights. You should have human rights. I don't care what a contract has to say, and I'm gonna go over that contractual thing. And shortly, that contractual thing means nothing. That the United States Constitution is nothing more than a contract. And anytime you hear people speak in this realm about contracts, one of the first things you hear them say is contracts are made to be broken. And the fact that a lot of these people are attempting to do their very best to destroy the Constitution lets you know they believe that that's part of their life and that's the way they live. Period. Full stop. I'm done. Now, when you're looking at these things and doing what you have to do to be happy, you must understand you had a legislative branch in the state of Texas this week who did everything they could to ensure the people in Texas that look like me and you and other people who kissed by the sun, whether you be Latino or Asian, that their voting rights were violated. Period. That's it. They did everything they could. Finally, these people who call themselves the Democratic Party stood up, walked out of chamber. So it was a delay. It wasn't a deterrent, but it was a delay. They did what they were supposed to do finally, and this thing was shot down out of the sky. When you're looking at these things, you must understand people are doing their best to, again, bring back the 1800s. A lot of people think, oh man, you tripping. This is not what's going on, but it is. And people can continue to ignore it, continue to watch that basketball game, continue to watch that baseball, football, and things of that nature. I'm not knocking you for it. I'm just saying these things are distractions. When you have people attempting to disturb your peace, you should be prepared to fight. And if you're not prepared to fight, you will suffer the consequences. To quote the late great ancestor of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, do for self or suffer the consequences. And that's what you're about to face, the consequences, because there are people in this country who have people who look like me. They have people who from other communities who are rolling with them, and those people are rolling with people who are attempting to destroy everything that they believe in and everything they stand for. And that's just the bottom line. I mean, we can pretend, oh, rap, it's not that serious. We can do all that, man. But at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, as the great Darren Dawkins once said, when all is said and done, there's nothing else to do or say. And that's just the bottom line. We are at war with evil, wicked individuals who are attempting to put you back in chains. Let's just be honest. They are attempting to do everything they can to put you back in bondage, to destroy everything that you've accomplished, to defame your ancestors so they can maintain control of this stolen country. Period. Point blank. End of sentence. Shout out to my man Rated Care. Thank you for always supporting. It's always good to see you in the building. But like I was saying, they're doing everything they can to make sure your life is as horrible, as miserable, as destructed or distracted as it can be. And we continue to buy into it. We buy into it by actually buying into that system, purchasing things. We do things like shop therapy, meaning going to a mall and spending unnecessary amounts of money to feel better about a situation that you're in, not realizing that the situation that you're in is not dire. See, the one thing that you can grab hold to by looking at the things that Tulsa and Tuesday I reminded you about or informed you about, let's just say reminded, I ain't going to tell you about nothing that you probably didn't even know. Tell you about things like Wilmington is you saw that 158 years ago, 175 years ago, You had people that look like me and you, people who are ancestors of people in bondage that never were in bondage. They were in this country walking around as free individuals, working individuals just like me and you do today. So what that really did was eliminate any excuse for you not to be successful. Now, let's look at the word success. The word success does not mean big giant house, big fancy car, fancy clothes, and a big pile of money in your pocket. Success is waking up every morning, appreciating what you have, appreciating your friends and family, and moving forward each day with a smile on your face. That's what success starts. I'm healthy enough, striving towards as healthy as possible. I have food in my car. I have my food in my cabinets. I have enough money to survive. My lights are on, my heat's on, my car's running. That's success. And then you want to improve on all levels of success. Even if you become a billionaire, then you want to reach out and help others. You don't only want to get more money. You want to have enough money to help everybody who's struggling. That's success. Fancy things and fancy toys and fancy clothes, that's not success. Because what good does it do for me to be rich and my man Joe to be 6 months behind in his rent? To Brady Kev to be 8 months behind in his rent? Chief Rocker to be a year behind, evicted from his house. That's not success. That's a level of achievement, but it's not success. So what we have to do first and foremost, again, I'm going to bring this up as frequently as possible. I learned this from Dr. Greg Carson and Baba, Dr. Greg Carr, and Queen Mother Karen Hunter. There are two ways to look at life. You have the social structure and the governance structure. The governance structure, the social structure is the structure that a lot of us live by. How do people see us? And we really shouldn't give a damn how people see us. And I'm going to touch on that a little later. I touched on it Tuesday, but I think I need to reiterate and expand on some things. And then it's the governance structure. How do you see yourself? Now, if money and toys and things like that is what makes you happy, God bless you. Get them. But guess what? You really can't enjoy a lot of those things alone. If you had a boat, who wants to ride around that boat alone? You want to be around friends and family who can enjoy what you have so you can add smiles. See, that's the thing. Adding smiles to somebody else's face is easier than just having a smile on your face. Yeah. Hey, man, what about me? Let's see. If that's all you know is what about me, then, hey, when you don't have anybody else to help you, or when you fall upon hard times, or you need somebody to talk to, what about you? What about your hard times? That's what we need. That's the governance structure. How do we see ourselves? And if you want to be rich alone, hey, I don't have one word bad to say about that. But alone is a lonely place, and that's idiotic to say almost, but it's obvious. That's Captain Obvious type of statement. But it's a horrible place just to be alone in this world. You need people. We are social beings. No one was born here to be alone. So why have things if you're not sharing and helping things? And sharing, nobody owes you anything. Oh, you should do this. No, that person should be doing things out the kindness of their heart. So, hey, how about this? Be selfish then. If you have an abundance, give as much as you can. Like the people at the church say, you can't outgive God. Do your best to do it. Because when you put that positive energy out in the universe and say, I bet you can't, God, or I bet you can't, universe, or whatever, Allah, or Buddha, or Jehovah Jireh, or whatever you call the creator, watch how much positive energy returns to you. And then you'll be swimming in abundance. And in order to stop yourself from drowning, keep giving it away. But at the end of the day, we must get out of this Americanized way of thinking. Shout out to my little brother Wanda. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Dave. And that's my real brother, real brother. But not soul brother, but brother. Look at his last name. That's my name. But like I said, man, it's a matter of doing what you have to do to maintain. How do you see yourself? How do I see Wanda? How do I see J. Ron? How do I see the number one Chief Rock, Jerry Ron? How do I see my man Big Illinois? How do I see my man Steve? How do I see my man Big P? How do I see Rhonda? You know what I'm saying? Because again, I will continue to say this to the day I die. What good does it do to have $1 billion in the bank and your family members struggling, the people in your community struggling? Oh, I made it. So what? So what? And let's be honest. Most of us are going to get this stuff so we can show off to other people. We're going to show off for everybody to turn their back. If you got the greatest pair of shoes on, the greatest pair of pants, the greatest shirt, the greatest jacket, the greatest haircut in the world, when you show up, everybody turn their back. You might as well be nappy-headed, musty and dirty. And again, this is why we struggle, because we're not focused on helping each other. The wicked, evil people of the United States of America, the people who are in control, they work together. They stand behind lies. The election was fixed. They stand behind lies. Donald Trump did the most for my community than any other president in the United States of America. They stand behind lies about a ton of things. You also have the wicked people in this country saying that George Floyd wasn't murdered. You have the wicked people in this country saying George Floyd wasn't murdered. Philando Castile wasn't murdered. Our sister Sandra Bland wasn't murdered. Breonna Taylor wasn't murdered. Well, she had da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Well, last time I checked, it is illegal to take the law in your own hands. That's just me. I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I don't read periodicals. I don't read legal periodicals every day of my life. I'm not engulfed in the law. I don't watch Congress on C-SPAN every day. But I'm sure that taking the law in your own hands is illegal in the United States of America, right? So when a police officer shoots somebody dead that's not threatening his life, that's illegal. Period. I don't want to hear anything else. And if I'm robbing a bank with a box of crack in my back pocket, with a crack pipe in my left hand, and a backpack full of lighter fluid in my right hand, with the stuff when I'm with some up under my arm, getting ready to smoke the crack, you can't kill me. You're supposed to arrest me, arraign me, take me to court, give me a trial, and put me and incarcerate me. That's just me. I mean, the criminal justice degree that I earned said those are the rules. Now, if they've changed, I understand. Then I'm wrong. Then I'm going to have to come back on next week and apologize. But last time I checked, I am 1,000% correct in regards to that, right? Now, if you can stand your behind in front of the world and say, hey, those people were supposed to die due to what, if they wouldn't have been doing that, first and foremost, you are a cretin and a clown. I'm no longer going to hold my tongue in regards to people who make excuses for wrongdoing, because those are the same people who will stand their black and white behinds and other culture behinds on TV and swear to God that O.J. Simpson did what he did and he should be incarcerated. They don't want to mention that what Nicole's background. They don't want to mention nobody else's background, but he was wrong and he should be incarcerated because he broke the law and there's a moral code. So if you want to stand around and talk to me about O.J. Simpson being guilty, and he should go to jail, then every cop that we've seen on television murder a brother or murder a other for no reason at all, unarmed human, not causing a threat, those cops should go to jail. But you don't see that. You only see people in my community committing crimes because we break all the laws in America, right? We sell all the drugs in America. Everything that's wrong, we bring it on ourselves. Shout out to Sabrina Looney. Thank you for tuning in. So this is what the narrative is in the United States of America. So seeing how the Texas lawmaker, the makers, the Georgia lawmakers, the Pennsylvania lawmakers, the Arizona lawmakers, and a dozen other states out there, seeing how they want to take it back to the 1850s. Well, I suggest that we do the exact same. Because in the 1850s, our community was galvanized for one cause: liberation, freedom, and moving forward. That's all the goal was. I want my own thing. See, the thing is this: we see a lot of people buying into foolishness and nonsense. And brothers and sisters who support me, who agree with me and see things the way I see, let's make the last time you debated with somebody about what was obviously right and obviously wrong, let's make that your last time debating with those kinds of people. Because first and foremost, they've bought into a narrative that is ultimately destructive to you. And if you are going to, you would never argue with or debate with somebody about why you shouldn't get a bullet in your head, because you know damn well you got every right as a human being to live as long and as prosperous as you can be. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, you have the right to live a happy, as Queen Mother Karen Hunter says on her show, to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, or the greatest attempt at it, right? So why are you debating with somebody about why our lives are important? What we have to do, and what is it? Today is the 5th. Guess what that means? Monday is the first day of Black Appreciation Day. Shout out to Daniel Favors. We're going to call it Black Appreciation Day. The 7th, the 17th, and the 27th of each month, we're going to invest in our communities. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to expand that until we get to the point where we're shopping with each other every day. We ain't doing no more protests. Our ancestor, John Lewis, before he died, he was like, we need to start getting in good trouble. Good trouble used to be standing out in front of the Washington Monument and having speeches like our great ancestor, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., like our ancestor, great Malcolm X, and telling people what to do. But what we're going to do now, we don't have to do that. We can just say, you know what? Y'all don't like me. We're not doing that anymore. Just walk away. Make the 7th. We're going to call it Black Appreciation Day, the 7th. We can even do like my buddy who was on here a couple of weeks ago, Diallo. We can do the 1st, the 7th, the 17th, and the 27th. Black Appreciation Day. We're going to appreciate each other. We're going to shop with each other. We're going to spend money with each other on those days. Do your very best not to spend money with anybody but your people. Again, go download the official Black Wall Street app. Official Black Wall Street app. It's in Google stores and it's on Apple. Download it to your phone. It'll give you alerts. Every time you go past a black-owned business, you need to be going in there to get what you need. Go online and get things that you need, because we're going to call it Black Appreciation Day. And it's going to be 4 days a month, the 1st of the month, the 7th of the month, the 17th of the month, and 27th of the month. Those days are in every single solitary month. Even if it's February is only 28 days, we can do it on the 27th. So we don't even have to go to the 30th. But that's what we have to do. You know, Monday, Joe Biden stood up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and talked about the carnage and the deviant behavior and things of that nature. You know what he didn't talk about? Remember, I played that video clip of our great ancestor, great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King said, and we here to get our check. Joe Biden didn't write no check, though, did he? I don't want to hear about how you sorry that my folks got jacked up and you sorry that and America has to be better. Enough of that. Enough of this. See, we were about consistently bringing up Tulsa, Oklahoma. Some people look at it as reliving trauma. No, that's inspiration. Because if our ancestors do that in the face of the Ku Klux Klan, in the face of redlining, in the face of discrimination, and they can build up one of the most successful segments of town in the history of the United States. Look, how many neighborhoods, how many 48 block areas of any city in the United States, on earth today, damn near, but let's just go with the United States of America. How many places in the 45 to 48 block radius has 2 movie theaters, a few hotels, several grocery stores, a hospital, 9 doctors specializing in different parts of the body, podiatrists, chiropractors, family specialists, so forth and so on, dentists, restaurants with 6-course meals. Find me a restaurant in 2019. 2020, 2021 with a 6-course meal menu. And this is by our ancestors. And it was like that in Wilmington, and it was like that here in Chicago, and it was all over the United States of America. So if they can do it in the face of all that nonsense, we're talking about one generation out of bondage, because our people were not slaves. They were in bondage. They were prisoners of war. The people who took over this country, the people who attempted to run the world at that time, waged war on our ancestors on the continent of Africa. And we won a battle. The Civil War was a battle. It was not the war. The Civil War was a battle. It was not a war. It was a battle. Please understand that. The Civil War was not a war. There was a battle in regards to obtaining oppression and the destruction of humanity. Deacon Dale is in the building. Thank you, man. Happy first anniversary on your show. Listen to it today. Thank you for the link. And thank you for sending out that link in regards to being able to understand you too. So I love Deacon Dale. I got my man and my brother from the Forecast, one of the dopest shows in the history of the world. Monday evenings at 9 p.m. on BS3 Radio. I'm at BS3 and Sports. It's the dopest show in the world, man. And y'all need to be tuning in. Dig that. Now, like I said, when we are looking at these things, we have to understand if people can do this one generation out of direct tyranny, there's nothing you can't do. Now, are you going to be faced with discrimination? Mm-hmm. Are you going to be faced with racism? Mm-hmm. You're going to do that. Are you going to be faced with every possible obstacle in the history of the world? Mm-hmm. Yep. You're going to do that too. But guess what? If they can get past it, you can get past it. Hey, and since we talking about getting past things, I'm going to quote our great ancestor, Marcus Garvey. What Africans have done, Africans can do. What Africans have done, Africans can do. So when we hear Joe Biden stand up there and do all that posturing, talking about what he going to do, and people always telling you, well, this ain't the Joe Biden that signed the crime bill, and this ain't the Joe Biden that let Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court, and this ain't the Clarence Thomas that did this, and this ain't the Joe Biden that did that. Well, Joe, I'm going to need you to show and prove. I'm going to need you to show and prove. And as far as people talking about Democrats and Republicans, they're all creeps. They're all creeps. None of them have our back. But see, the way they've been able to get away with it is we're going to stop complaining laterally. We are going to create, I'm going to do it. I'm going to create some type of GoFundMe so we can start helping Sister Stacey Abrams and Brother Wrightwood and Sister Brown and these people who are going door to door to get our folks registered. See, why they're not on TV putting up ads about registering to vote right now? If the midterms are in 2022 and we only got 18 months to get there, why ain't nobody talking about that now? Why ain't nobody talking about that now? See, well, they got these laws of voter suppression. Well, we need to be doing everything we can to elect things and create a path and a platform so we can get our needs met and move forward. That's what we need to do. Now, we can sit around and piss and moan and say what we don't have. We can be proactive and get things done. See, whether you think it's possible or not, it's not the thing. We know it's possible. We don't need anybody. Man, our ancestors in Tulsa taught us this. Tulsa, a lot of people look at it as a massacre. What you do is you look at that massacre and realize what they destroyed. Look at that massacre and look at what they destroyed. They didn't destroy your backyard. They destroyed what would be equivalent to Harlem in New York. What would be equivalent to the south side of Chicago or the west side of Chicago. What could be equivalent to Watts, South Central, and Compton. That's what they destroyed. Imagine that, man. So we can no longer sit around and talk about what we can't do, because guess what? If you want to talk about what you can do, then you really don't need to be rocking with your man right here, because I don't know what I can't do. I've never understood what I could not do, period. I'm just here to tell you. I don't understand what I can't do, but I do know what I can do. And I do know what people in front of me have done. I do know what my grandfather has done. I do understand what my grandmother has done, my great-grandmothers. I do what my mother has done. I know what my pops did. I know what my uncles have done. And good, bad, or indifferent, they did it without the assistance of the United States federal government. Period. You know, we like to sit around and do this bragging thing. Without us, it wouldn't be room for nothing. We did that. Okay, well, we need to start doing it again. We don't need anybody to be successful. We don't need money from the United States federal government. That's our brothers and our ancestors in Tulsa, our ancestors in Wilmington, our ancestors who built things throughout the Red Summer. They didn't need any help. So why are we asking for help? Now, is it our right as citizens of this settler project, this criminal act that we live in? Is their responsibility to do it? Yes. Are they going to do it? More than likely not. So what we have to do is create things like construction companies, unionize that construction company, and then bring in our brothers who are incarcerated and have them unionized. And then the union will pay for them to be an electrician, a carpenter, a plumber, a builder, or a laborer, or whatever the hell that they want to be. Now they have a skill. And then we engage our young people in other ways. We teach our young people the history. So now we can look at the history and say, hey, these are the things that we can do. Shout out to my homeboy, Chris Chrisman. He in the building. Much love. Thank you for the support, my brother. But these are the things that we must focus on. See, enough of asking people to help us. They're not. We know they're not. I'm not looking for that anymore. Now, in regards to making sure that you don't get violated, we need to vote. But we need to have Chris Chrisman as the dude who we're going to vote for. We need to have Brian Williams, myself, as the dude we're going to vote for. We need to have Fern Riggs as the dude we're going to vote for. We need to have Anthony Madison as the dude we're going to work for. We need to have Anthony Lansdowne as the dude we're going to vote for. Because we need to have Steve Lott as the dude we're going to vote for. Guess why? Because we know them. I told y'all, it's a 12-year balls to the wall, no stopping. Focus, and we'll get out of this foolishness. Believe it or not, that's all you have to do. Do I believe in the system? No, but what I do believe in is the fact that me and you can come together and get things taken care of. We need more money for our schools. We need more money. We need to start doing things to enhance our communities. We need to stop looking at the flaws in each other and acting as if somebody else don't have flaws. Now, if there's a group of perfect people out here, don't compare yourself to the damn perfect people. But last time I checked, none of us are perfect that walk the face of this earth. None of us. So if you have some flaws in what you do, guess what that means? That means you're a human being. And if you're a human being, then you are in control of your own destiny. You don't have to wait around and beg and plead and hope and pray that something gonna happen. You can get your ass up and do it. Organize. Organization is the key. Galvanize your community. Whether it just be 10 or 15 of you and your friends. And then go to communities and clean up around the elderly. Go, and then once the elderly get to know you, then you continue to work in your own community. Make sure you got trash receptacles. Then you make sure your roads are paved. Then you make sure your schools are taken care of. Then you make sure, and it is a trickle down situation. And when these clowns in these blue suits and these blue and red show up, they damn near the Crips and the Bloods. You know what I mean? When the blue and the red show up and say what they're gonna do, you have somebody taking minutes. You have Courtney Harper taking minutes at the city council meeting. He said he was going to do this. He said he's going to do that. And she goes and emails everybody in your community. And then when he get in office, hey man, you don't wait until if he get elected Monday, Tuesday, you need to be on the phone. Did you get this done? This is what we expect. And you got to Friday. That's how we have to engage. It has to become a job for us, because if it's not a job, then you're going to get left behind. If you get left behind, it's only your fault. See, we get into the situation that, well, they ain't going to do nothing for us. That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And why the hell would they do it? Because all you're going to do is talk. But if you withdraw your funds, and if you withdraw your activities, and then guess what? The next time you think about buying a pair of sneakers, you need to be sending an email or a tweet or somebody at Nike and say, hey, Nike, man, we need a park in my neighborhood. I live in K-Town in Chicago. I need a park. I live in Inglewood in Chicago. We need a park over there. Because you know what? We get y'all, we probably, Inglewood and K-Town probably give y'all $500 million every year. Yep. Cats over there buying 4 and 5 pairs of Jordans in both sections. So y'all need to do what y'all got to do. The Fifth Ward down there in Louisiana, we need some parks. The Fifth Ward down there in Houston, and the Killer, what they call it, the Killer Ward in New Orleans. You know what I mean? And on the west side of Atlanta, we need things. See, these people will engage with you if you ask, but you're not asking. You're just complaining. You got Joe Biden talking about what happened in Tulsa. Yeah, it was a beautiful speech, but we ain't getting nothing out of it. We ain't getting nothing. All I know is when you admit you do wrong in the United States of America, you become liable. When you become liable, you must pay. And if you didn't pay, you full of it. I don't want these empty promises about the government and all this. Look, I don't want to hear that nonsense no more. Joe Biden, I don't want to hear it no more. And with that being said, man, I'm going to take y'all to this moment in history. I want y'all to check this out. It is a very important moment in history because we need these people in history because we need the more we learn about our ancestors, the more powerful we become. The more powerful we become, the more of a threat we become, and then we take over. And we ain't got to dominate nobody. We can just take over and sit back with our hands behind our head and look good. I'll be back shortly.
Welcome to The Five, where we share 5 interesting things in Black culture and history in every episode. Forgotten Black heroes. You know the big heroes of Black history in America: Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Frederick Douglass. But there are many more that don't get the credit they deserve. We have just 5 of them for you today. But first, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Also, let us know in the comments about your thoughts on this episode and any future videos you would like us to create. Benjamin Mays. There is no mistake that Benjamin Mays is first up on our list. It is really sad that unless you attended Morehouse, you have probably never heard of this great man. Benjamin Mays was born in the Jim Crow South to freed sharecroppers in 1894 and moved up to the north to attend Bates College and the University. Benjamin Mays was born in a pastor and began his activist work in Atlanta. He served as the president of Morehouse for 27 years and met young Martin Luther King Jr. there. Mays was King's teacher and mentor and is widely known as King's spiritual and intellectual father. Mays believed in nonviolent resistance and instilled those beliefs in King. He also helped construct the civil rights movement in the South, and during his presidency at Morehouse, attendance quadrupled in size. Mays also presided over the Atlanta Board of Education after Morehouse. There he initiated the desegregation of Atlanta's school system. Mays delivered his famous "No Man is Ahead of His Time" speech during King's eulogy. In his speech, Mays declared, quote, "No man is ahead of his time. Every man is within his star, each in his time. Each man must respond to the call of God in his lifetime and not in somebody else's time." Ida B. Wells Barnett. 70 years before Rosa Parks, there was Ida B. Wells. Ida was born into slavery in 1862 and lost both her parents by the age of 16 due to an epidemic of yellow fever. At the age of just 22, Ida refused to give up her first-class seat on the train and was dragged out by 3 men. She sued the railroad company and won $500, a considerable amount in 1884. But the railroad company appealed the Tennessee Supreme Court and got the ruling reversed. Deeply hurt by the ruling, but encouraged by the attention her case got after she wrote about it in a black newspaper, Ida decided to become a writer. After being fired from her teaching job for writing an article that criticized the condition of black schools in the region, Ida dove deep into journalism. She investigated and wrote about lynchings in Memphis until her newspaper office was burned to the ground. Her office might have been burned, but Ida never stopped writing about lynchings. She distributed pamphlets titled Southern Horrors and The Red Record, both about the horrors of lynchings supported by research. Ida B. Wells was also a suffragist. As a prominent black suffragist, Ida often clashed with the leaders of the U.S. suffrage movement, whom she believed were silent on the issue of racism and lynchings. Ida has influenced countless black feminist activists and was also one of the founders of the NAACP. Robert Smalls. Robert Smalls was born into slavery but died an American hero. In 1861, Robert Small, who at the time was working as a deckhand on the CSS Planter, a Civil War Confederate ship, took over the ship while Confederate soldiers were spending the night ashore to transport his wife, children, and 12 other slaves. Together they sailed the ship past 5 Confederate posts, each of which needed either a whistle or a special hand signal to pass, into the Union territory. After becoming a hero in the North, Robert Smalls went on to fight in at least 17 major battles in the Civil War, later becoming the first ever African-American captain of a U.S. vessel. After the Civil War, Robert Smalls had enough money to move back into his hometown in Beaufort, where he purchased his former master's house. There he also purchased a 2-story Beaumont building in use for a school for African-American children. Smalls himself spent over 9 months learning to read and write. In 1874, Smalls was elected to the House of Representatives and was the last Republican to represent the 5th Congressional District until 2010. Granville T. Woods. This black inventor is referred by many as the Black Edison, but we don't agree with that title. He is much more than that. Woods was the first African American to be a mechanical and electrical engineer after the Civil War. As if that wasn't impressive enough, he held more than 50 patents. Granville T. Woods was born in Columbus, Ohio, and attended school until the age of 10 there. But he had to drop out of school and find work to help his impoverished family. He served as an apprentice in a machine shop and learned the trade of machinist and blacksmith there. Woods studied mechanical and electrical engineering in college from 1876 to 1878 and took a job abroad, the Ironsides. Within 2 years, he became chief engineer on the steamer. In 1880, he moved to Ohio and established his own company, Woods Electric Company. Among many impressive inventions was the multiplex telegraph, a device that sent messages between train stations and moving trains. His work allowed for safer and better public transportation system in the cities of America. By the time of death, Woods had sold the rights of many of his inventions to companies such as General Electric, Westinghouse, and American Engineering. Sojourner Truth. In 2014, this African-American abolitionist and women's rights activist was included into the Smithsonian Magazine's list of the 100 most significant Americans of all time. In learning about her story and contributions, it's easy to see why. Born Isabella Pumphrey, circa 1797, Sojourner was a slave in Ulster County, New York. She escaped into freedom in 1826 with her infant daughter. After learning that her 5-year-old son had been sold illegally, she went to court to recover him in 1828. She became the first black woman to win such a case against a white man. After changing her name to Sojourner Truth, she joined an abolitionist and women's rights group and published her book, The Narrative of Sojourner Truth, a Northern Slave. In 1851, she gave her famous Ain't I a Woman speech at the Ohio Women's Rights Convention in Akron. Her speech demanded equal human rights for all women as well as for all blacks. During the Civil War, Sojourner recruited black soldiers for the Union Army. After the war, she worked at the National Freedoms Relief Association in Washington, D.C. to improve living conditions for freed slaves. In 1865, Sojourner rode in streetcars to help force their desegregation. For 7 years after, she worked unsuccessfully to secure land grants from the federal government to former slaves. She was even fighting for prison reform among all the other fights she was waging. There is a larger-than-life sculpture of Sojourner Truth in Battles Creek Monument Park, as well as a statue of her in Florence, Massachusetts, and on the campus of the University of California, San Diego. That's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next one.
Welcome back to Build and Destroy. This is the End of the Bench podcast hosted by yours truly, HRap on Built for This Network, on Spreaker.com, and right here on YouTube for the End of the Bench. Thank you for tuning in, and everybody who's in the background and everybody who's in the forefront of the chat room speaking about things. Thank you for tuning in. please continue to hit the like button, hit the share button, tell a friend to tune in. Thank you, Joe, Brother Joe, for making that comment. Now, as I've been stating the entire show, we have untapped power that we don't even realize. Now, everybody understands that I stopped talking about sports recently, and because I really don't see any purpose in it anymore. I'm not motivated to talk about it, and it's just something I'm not really into anymore. But I am going to talk about some things in the sports world going forward. I will continue to talk about things that cover our community. One of the things that I'm going to talk about is a professor and journalist, Professor Queen Mother Karen Hunter, mentioned this week that what is happening currently is not journalism. And I've been saying that's what actually got me into podcasting, because I thought that people like Stephen A. Smith, people like Jason Whitlock, now my man Marcellus Wiley, and Skip Bayless, they are not participating in journalism. In my opinion, journalism is this: to observe something, to encapsulate it in your words, write things out, and present what you saw to someone to help them form their opinion on what you saw. You will be as accurate as humanly possible. You shouldn't be biased at all. My man Mwanga just asked me, do I still watch sports? Rarely. I rarely watch sports at all. Since I stopped doing sports about maybe 12 weeks ago, I think I've watched 3 sporting events. I think I've watched the Sports Center maybe twice. So it's not important to me anymore. And it's no longer fun. I lost luster. Sports lost its luster when the people who are in control stop being worried about the game and they stop being worried about entertainment. I'll get into that in a second. And people like the aforementioned journalists that I named, the Skip Baylesses, the Stephen A. Smith, the Jason Whitlocks of the world, the Marcellus Wileys of the world, they no longer were talking about the game. They were talking about the people. Sports became a gossip column. I was talking to the homie James this week, and he even made the statement of sports is pretty much TMZ sports. And Queen Mother Hunter said it's about gotcha moments, and it struck a chord with me, because we no longer talk about the ability to execute plays. We talk about the highlights. Yeah, on paper, a 3 is worth more than 2. That's just obvious. But what happens when if I hit a 2 and you shoot a 3 and miss, and I hit another 2, you're down 4. If you hit that 3, you're down 1, and you should have extended the energy. But we don't talk about that anymore. We talk about Josh Gordon's drug addiction. We talk about somebody's baby mama. We talk about somebody's personal issues. If they don't do what you say, we talk about people's mental state. This brings me to our young sister, Naomi Osaka. What she did and what others like Marshawn Lynch and Rasheed Wallace and other people have done is taking the power away. And what they need to continue to do is take the power away. Rasheed Wallace, remember, everybody played hard. Everybody did what they could do. And our brother Marshawn Lynch, he got so tired of the reporters, he just retired. I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm just here so I won't get fined, because it was cute, it was funny, and it was getting people to pay attention. He wasn't fined. Rasheed Wallace was. See, what the players of yesterday didn't understand was, if Babe Ruth don't show up at the game, Michael Jordan said it. I don't know who's going to be here for the first time and see me. That's why I play hard. Kobe Bryant echoed those sentiments, right? And those are admirable things to say, right? And man, you got to respect that. And they focus on that. But what they didn't focus on is, if Babe Ruth and Willie Mays don't show up, who the hell tuning in? If what's the boy name, Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio don't show up, and Stan Musial don't show up, and Ernie Banks don't show up, and all these athletes don't show up, what the hell are you watching? Nothing. So a lot of these young brothers, like, for example, Jackie Robinson, hated the name Jackie, but because they wanted some semblance of control over this brother who was a no-nonsense, in-your-face, I'll knock you out kind of brother. He wasn't docile. He was just an educated brother who understood he had to do what he had to do to move forward. But he never called himself Jackie. He called himself Jack Robinson. Roberto Clemente is Roberto Clemente. But the white reporters used to try to call him Bobby, and he was like, Roberto, Bobby, Roberto. So they called him surly and mean. Shout out to Dr. Greg Carter. So when you learn these things, you see some players get bad raps because they're not doing what the reporter said. I thought about doing this, and I may do it. And this is one of the seminal moments in the history of sports when things turned around. If I could find it while I'm talking to you, you'll understand what I'm talking about. This is one of the seminal moments in the history of sports in which our brother Richard Williams took control of the situation. And he said, look here, man, it's not your get down. You know what I mean? And what our young brothers need to realize is, hey, ESPN is another nonsensical situation without us. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. No, we don't need these people. We really don't need anybody to get executed. You know what I mean? We're going to see this clip as it plays. It's live, so, you don't deal with the live. You know what I mean? But let me see. I'm going to put you to try this. Go. Oh, the sound ain't playing. But don't worry about it. This is a situation, too, where our brother Richard Williams had to check one of these reporters. He asked young Venus a question, and young Venus said, yeah, I'm confident that I'm going to win. Why are you so confident? Because I am. And when he asked the third time, Richard Williams stood up and said, look, you asked the question. She answered the question. Don't ask her no damn more. She confident because she got a confidence in her abilities. And the dude said, hey, man, you want me to do this because he thought that he had control of the situation. Nobody comes to a tennis match to see a damn reporter. People come to tennis matches to see Venus and Serena. Now, with that being said, Richard Williams at that point was vilified. He was crazy and he was out of control and things of that nature, but here we are. The tennis world is standing on the shoulders of Venus and Serena Williams. They are two of the most dominant tennis players ever, and Serena is vastly known as the greatest tennis player ever, and definitely the greatest woman tennis player ever. I don't care about no damn records. We're talking about domination, and we're talking about quality of competition. And when you got this segregated tennis situation, hey, I don't give a damn what Babe Ruth did. It's a dude. It was a dude in the Negro League, and it's a dude by the name of Hank Aaron who did it in the midst of everybody. Hank Aaron dominated the Negro Leagues. He went and dominated in the white leagues, and when they integrated, Hank Aaron and not Barry Bonds are the king of home runs. So you can diminish whatever you want. At the end of the day, our brother Barry sits on the top, and right up under him is our brother, ancestor, Hank Aaron. But what these athletes need to realize is this. They have the power. If they stop talking to everybody on ESPN, guess what? Nike still gonna get them sneaker contracts. They still gonna hand out them contracts. And they start talking to everybody on Fox, Under Armour still gonna get them contracts. Because guess what? They gonna go to Twitter where they got 10, 11, 12 million followers and say, man, look at these kicks. See, Naomi Osaka showed them this week, you mean nothing to me. Because Naomi Osaka said it's too much to deal with. And it probably is. You know, see, we've been programmed and trained to believe that, hey, if the media don't like me or whatever the media said, that's what the get down is. But that's not the get down. Like, we talk about how players are soft now. No, they're just smart. Because when you see Bill Russell walk, when you see a lot of those old players walk, and their knees and back is bothering them, they wasn't getting millions of dollars. And guess what? Derrick Rose told y'all about 12 years ago, hey, man, I don't want to be in pain when I see my son graduate. And people called him crazy. But he wasn't crazy. Oh, man, they paying him millions of dollars, and they making billions of dollars off of him. Because, see, how many of us have gone to a former player's house and made sure he was okay? None of us have done that. No sport fan wakes up in the morning and says, hey, man, I wonder what's up with Willie Mays. I wonder is Willie Mays okay? None of us do that. And we sit our ass back and go, well, they played like this. I don't give a damn. Because guess what? I get out my car every day and it takes about 25 steps before my body adjusts to me walking after sitting in the car for 20 minutes. So just imagine, and that's just playing on a lower level. What is Mike Singletary going through? What is Wilbur Marshall going through? Who's damn near crippled? William Perry, what is he going through? What are we doing to help them? So when these players make people billions of dollars and they only get millions back, hell yeah. They make more money than me and you. But hey man, remember, if you're old enough, shout out to my man Big Illinois brother on my brother and brother on Built for This Network. You got that one right, didn't know? Yeah, that's right, brother. How many of us gave a damn about Kenny Easley when he almost died and had to have a kidney transplant, and now it took them 25 years to put him in the Hall of Fame 2 years ago? How many people thinking about Alonzo Mourning, who's walking around right now due to painkillers, all those painkillers he took to entertain us, and he got those millions of dollars. Now he walks around with one kidney because he destroyed the other one with painkillers. How many of us giving a damn about those brothers? So that's why these young brothers are saying, hey, man, my back messed up. I'm finna sit down for a couple of days. And I understand we've been socialized to think, hey, man, they getting this money. So freaking what? They are human beings. They are not animals. They are not robots, y'all. We got to stop thinking like that. We got to stop reducing them to athletes. Because guess what? Maybe Alonzo Mourning should have set his ass down for a couple of games or even the rest of the season, let his body heal, and he'll have 2 kidneys right now. Maybe he should have done that. Maybe all those guys that walk around looking like they're at the geriatrics part of the town, maybe, just maybe, if they would have slowed down, they would have normal, like Hacksaw Reynolds. He in a wheelchair right now. Yeah, he used to do a lot of cheap shots and stuff like that, but he's in a wheelchair right now. And guess what? The National Football League don't want to pay him disability. And these just the dudes I know about. Fred, I think he's a former linebacker for the Seahawks. He jacked up. See, what about those guys? What about Junior Seau, who killed himself, shot himself in the chest so he can get his head examined? Oh no, they making the NFL safer. No, they not. They using their safety thing so they can score more points, so people can play more fantasy football, so people can get more points and get more attention. Because guess what? People don't give a damn. Chief Rocker, Rated Kev, Big Illinois. We love football and we love watching. No disrespect to my brother Joe. But Joe he likes football a lot, but he loves fantasy because he invested money in that damn fantasy team and he having fun with his buddies on fantasy. But so he likes football about 51% or 49%, but he likes fantasy 51%. And there's no knock against him because that's how he was socialized into sports. So Joe don't give a damn that the rules are changed. He trying to win fantasy. Big Illinois, a big fantasy player. He trying to win in fantasy. So Big Illinois might be 50-50. But people like me and Ray the Kev and Chief Rocker, we 70-30, and we wanted to be the old way, but the old way was wrong. Because we were treating these dudes like animals. Just like our little sister, Naomi Osaka, looked at how everybody missed, how many times Venus and Serena sat up there at that damn podium and cried, and then nobody give a damn. They talked about their father in front of them, called him crazy, and nobody gave a damn. But guess what? Serena and Venus' father, Richard Williams, shout out to our ancestor Richard Williams, he was the original LeVar Ball. Because if y'all old enough to remember, Richard Williams told everybody when Venus started winning, y'all think Venus good, wait till her sister come along. They're like, oh man, get up out of here. And this isn't a brother who grew up playing tennis. He wasn't some type of tennis expert. He was from Compton, California, one of the worst communities financially and violence-wise, and that's the propaganda they put out there. But this dude took two sisters from Compton and blew them up, and now they are the giants in the tennis world. Again, what Africans have done, Africans can do. They went from nothing to something. They went from don't have to greatest of all time. So why can't we go from not have to greatest of all time? Keep telling y'all, man, there are no excuses. There are excuses. Excuses are your own. They are used to build monuments of nothingness, and they're used by losers. I'm just, hey, man, that's all excuse is. Now, when our sister Naomi, she said, I don't need it. I mean, we need to figure out another way. She didn't say, skip y'all, I want to do it, but I don't want to be out here in a match giving everything I got, stressed out, tired, fatigued, and then come up and answer idiotic questions used to trigger emotions. Because like Queen Mother Karen Hunter said, the whole thing is gotcha moments. Okay, we can catch her the weak morning, then she'll snap, and Serena, and now all of a sudden Serena Williams is a crybaby and she whining. No, her emotions are way up here. She did the very best she could, and she either won or lost. So if she lost, her emotions are way up here, and now she's angry and dejected because she put in all this work. And then you got people, well, she should lose 10 pounds. She should have did this. She should have did that. She washed up. Now she's hearing all this, and then somebody asking her a stupid question. She's already jacked up, emotional, pissed off because she lost, and you asking me stupid questions. I don't want to deal with that, Naomi said. And in the tennis world said, well, if you don't come, we gonna fine you $15,000, which is chump change to somebody who made $55 million last year, who probably put about $30 million in her pocket. Chump, she'll give you $15 million a day while she there. But she actually stepped down and was like, look, we can figure out another way. But they said, no, you're not figuring out no other way. You're going to do it our way, or you're going to suffer the consequences. And they suffer the consequences because none of y'all have tuned in to the French Open. And I will never watch it again. I don't give a damn how many times, because that's when we need to galvanize as a community and never watch the French Open ever again. Shout out to the sister Coco Golf. Shout out to our sister Venus Williams. But any other black player should never go back to the French Open. See, because these things are only valid because we validate them. Who over-indexed on television? Us. So guess what? When you do one of us in, never watch it again. No more mistakes. Oh, see, we've seen the light of our ways. Oh, well, I'm glad you've seen it. We still not coming. Oh, well, you ain't going to never win the Grand Slam. You can do what golf did. The Players' Championship. The Players' Tournament. Boom. Now you got another Grand Slam. Now you got 4. The French Open it might as well be the Chicago in the back of the ghetto Open at that point. It's only valid because we said. But Naomi, she said enough of this. I'm not finna stress myself out. And guess what? You got guys who sit their behinds on TV. Now, our brother Kwame Brown been calling out a lot of people, the Stephen A's and all these people in the world. He even called out Chicago's own Mike Wilbon. I don't know what Mike Wilbon said, but he felt that he needed to attack Mike Wilbon. Cool. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it, young brother. But these are the things. This is the thing, man. Coco don't have to talk to nobody at ESPN. She has to do nothing. Because guess what? If she got a Heinz ketchup ad, Heinz is still rocking with her because she going to be winning. Coke going to be rocking with her because she's still winning. Nike and anybody else going to rock with her. They going to rock with her because she a winner. She's a champion. She's at the top of the food chain. Period. You got Serena making $200 million or $150 million in endorsements and tournament get down. I got my man BS3, the captain of the forecast in the building. Much love, Ben. So they don't need these people, and we don't need them either. Up until and including the moment that we do it, we recognize the power that we have and keep exercising the power that they don't have. Oh, well, you need me. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't need you, because guess what? It's like if a tree fall in the forest, will it still make noise? If Coco Golf and our sister Naomi Osaka win Wimbledon and the U.S. Open and don't go to the French Open, will they still be champions? You damn right they will be. You got brothers like Kyrie Irving speaking out against the media, and people, oh, he crazy because he said this. Well, if he said some crazy stuff, is he the first person to say some crazy stuff? Hell no. Hell no, he not. He's not the first person to say some crazy stuff. He not going to be the last person. Well, we're not going to identify our brother Kyrie Irving as that, but y'all won't do that. Y'all keep playing up to it. Stephen A. We could destroy Stephen A. Smith. And athletes, if y'all listening, hell yeah, you need to come on Chief Rocker Show. Hell yeah, you need to go to B. You know why? Because they're going to let you speak your mind, and what's going to go out is going to be on live air, and it's going to be a podcast, and you listen to it over and over again. You don't have to go on ESPN and placate to Stephen A. Smith. I know I'm talking about the destruction of a brother, and y'all know I rarely talk about people. I usually talk about things and instances, but I am going to talk about Stephen A. Smith today, because Stephen A. Smith he didn't attempt. What he did was pull his behind out the hot grease a couple days ago and tried to stick LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and all the slobs. See, it's one thing to tell the honest to God truth. You cannot refute the truth, but it's about the way you frame it. It's about the way you frame it. Stephen A. Smith was in hot water. He was in hot water with the black community because of what Kwame Brown called him out on. So instead of standing up and being a man, taking the arrows and fending them off and say, look at what I'm going to do. Going forward, I'm going to just, all you have to do is say it to yourself, Stevie, and then you can move forward. But what he did was wait until the Boston Celtics hired or promoted that boy in Boston, Brad Stevens. Exactly. My man Ben said he respects Kyrie Irving more and more every day. What he did was this. Stephen A. knew about that promotion probably 2 weeks ago. But instead of announcing it and getting in front of it and being the dude who fight for equality, he kept it under his hat because he knew he needed it. So what he did was step out and say, well, y'all ain't talking about brothers ain't getting jobs. You're a reporter, homie. Kyrie Irving and KD supported Steve Nash. You knew about it too, homie. Why didn't you report it? Let's see if you're going to be talking about equality next week. Now that the heat off you, Mr. Smith, but you're not. But what you did was you got a lot of people to stop focusing on your shortcomings and start focusing on why ain't LeBron? LeBron, you do speak up for social activity. Why didn't you speak up on that? KD, why you didn't speak up on this? Kyrie. So the heat is off Stephen A. for now. But let's see, this is how you keep the heat on people like that. Since you want to pull your own behind out the grease, not a problem. We're going to let the grease drain off on you like you would do fish. And we're going to throw you right back in there in a month if you're not talking about those things. See, in about a month, the Olympics start. And it's teams all around the league. Like the general manager of the Detroit Pistons, the president of the Detroit Pistons. They need to go. Stephen A., why ain't you speaking on that? Why ain't you speaking on that? Larry Bird ain't won a damn thing down in Indiana. He been down there almost 15. He been down there almost 20 years. Why ain't Larry Bird on the Budweiser hot seat? Steve, why ain't you talking about that? We're not going to hear you talk about that, are we, Steve? The Orlando Magic ain't been good since Dwight Howard left. They ain't been in contention since Dwight Howard left. Steve, why ain't you talking about nobody down there? Who's won in Minnesota? Steve, why ain't you talking about that? See, it's the way it is called deflection. It's called deflection. And when we understand that everybody's look, the NBA, and people love hollering, the NBA is 75%, 80% black, the NFL is 75, 80% black, and you ain't on how this. Steve, what's going on? My man said the truth is like rain. It doesn't care who it falls on. Shout out to my man, my brother from the forecast. My man don't. Exactly, man. It don't. And he said it's like the rain, and my folks used to say the truth don't care who tell it. Same conversation. But Steve definitely pivoted and put it on somebody else. And these are the things that we get bamboozled by, because now Stephen A. Smith stood on ESPN. My man Ray the Kev said this the other day. We were rapping on the horn, and Ray the Kev said this. I wouldn't be shocked if the people who control ESPN tell Stephen A. Smith on Monday, you need to talk about these topics. And we ultimately came to the conclusion it don't happen Monday, it happened Friday, so he can get the speech in order. And we know that Stephen A. Look, y'all think Stephen A. Smith is a smart guy. Look, just because you dress nice and you read at the source before you go on air, don't mean you're intelligent. Now, he's a hard-working dude. I hear he's one of the hardest working people in television. But that don't make you smart. Just like me. Okay? Because are you telling me, I guarantee you Stephen A. Smith ain't smarter than me. And I'm not, you know what? I'm starting to just say I'm an intelligent guy. I used to shun it away, and I didn't want no compliments. Like, I'm going with that. But I know damn well, on no day, Stephen A. is smarter than me. Under no circumstances, Stephen A. Smith don't know nothing outside of something like fashion, high fashion, Versace and Bonaducci and Gucci and all that. He got me on that. Once you step outside of that, Stephen A. Smith, I will make him look like a damn fool. And know that. And know that. It ain't no sports topic. Stephen A. Smith is a basketball guy. I'm a football guy. I will run circles around that dummy. So just because you're on TV don't make you smart. And just because you wear dapper suits and you wear Liz Claiborne frames and all that stuff that he sits on TV and brags about, those are identifiers that you have no substance. I'm not a bragger. I'm a humble guy. Now, people who know me as loud and bombastic and in your face, but I respect everybody. Hey, shout out to my man P. Penitentiary rules are in effect with me. Respect everything and everybody around. Premium P. Respect everything and everybody around you. Those are my life rules. So, me saying that I got Stephen A. Smith, trust and believe. I got him. I've listened to him for years, and all he do is listen to my man. That'll be like me listening to Dog say something, listen to Ben say something, and say, hey, well, they smart. Well, blah, 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 blah. And come on here, y'all don't know where I got it from, and it make me seem like I know everything about Texas. And I ain't been to Texas in 20 years. But I can repeat what Dog and Ben say, and Wilk say, and I can sound like I know what's going on in Texas. And that's what your man does. And then he throw a big flowery word in there to make it seem like he's wildly intelligent, and he is not. But what he is a coward to stand up on his own. Because, Steve, you got like 1 million followers on Facebook. You got 1 million followers on Facebook. 1 million. 1 million followers on Instagram and Twitter. You got millions of people supporting you, and you're still scared to lose a job. You're still scared to lose a job. I saw through Stephen A. from the moment I laid eyes on him. Exactly. Hey, that's my man Doc again. Exactly, man. He is not a genuine guy. And this isn't the anti-Stephen A. Smith show. This is the uplifting of the young brothers in the NFL, MLB, hockey, and every other professional sports league. If it continues to be like Queen Mother Karen Hunter say, not journalism, it is entertaining. And like my man James said this morning, TMZ TV, you need to seek out the Bens. You need to seek out my man in Philadelphia on Ben Network. You need to seek out the Chief Rockers. You need to seek the microwaves. You need to seek those brothers out who talking about actual sports and give them your point of view, because ESPN is not doing it. At one point, you can learn something from ESPN. It has become highlight TV. No substance in regards to the game. Exactly. Screaming A. Smith. No substance, no content. It's just highlights. Now, if you doubt what I'm saying, I don't care what this name of the game is. Sports is being able to make somebody do what they don't want to do. When you're in baseball, if you at the bat, you need the pitcher to throw as many balls as possible to tire him out. So late in the game, when he pitch, they become souvenirs. In football, you run the ball. That's why I make the statement all the time. You run to win, you throw to score. You can love Joe Montana, which I'm a gigantic fan. You can love Troy Aikman, which I'm a fan. You can love John Elway, I'm a fan. But guess what? None of those guys ever won without Wendell Tyler, Roger Craig, Emmitt Smith, and who else? And Terrell Davis. They didn't win anything till they got their running game. You know why? Because it's about attrition. The team that is more fatigued at the end of the game loses the game, period. You run the ball to tire out the defense, then you can run and throw at your will. You pass the ball around in basketball so the shooter's legs can get tired chasing the ball down. You use the post to tire people out, and then when you do that, the shots are not falling as frequently. When you looked at the basketball game last night, I watched the last 6 minutes of the game. At one point, they showed Kawhi Leonard. He was standing there with his hands on his thighs, waiting on the free throw to be shot. He was not breathing hard. When he wasn't breathing hard, I said, there's no way they can lose this because his jumper is going to be on fire. That's why you can't win shooting jump. You don't shoot jump shots with your your hands. You shoot them with your legs, period. That's the problem with sports. You don't learn these things. I, at age 12, used to play football from 12 to 6, was a pretty good football player. John Madden taught me how to catch a football from the living room of 1442 North Cedric, watching TV. He said, you see this guy on the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Hill, dropped the football. Gary Clark, same play, caught the ball. He zoomed in on Tony Hill. Tony Hill turned, dropped the ball. Tony Hill was a wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, who don't know. Very good ball player. Gary Clark was equally good, but Gary Clark looked the ball into his hand, and John Madden stopped the film and said, Gary Clark looked at the ball, touched his hand. You don't catch a football with your hands, you catch it with your eyes. From that point on, I have, to this very day, I've rarely dropped anything somebody threw at me. This is why people like myself, Chief Rocker, Ben from BS, Ben, Dalt, Raider Care. This is why we like sports. They might not even realize that's part of the reason that they liked it, because they learned and watched, and then they knew what they were watching. If you're here in Chicago, if you're a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan like me, you're this guy who do the play-by-play. He has done play-by-play on both sides of town. His name is Steve Stone. He used to be a pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles, so forth and so on. But when Steve Stone is doing play-by-play on the game, you know what Steve Stone does? If something happens, he stops the game and says, now here's a lesson for you youngsters. Now you're learning the game. Now that's why I have so much trepidation when I watch now, because I don't need to know Chief Rocker had a 300 average and he hit 35 home runs and on this day, and I don't need to know that. Is Chief Rocker good? That's what I need to know. What makes Chief Rocker good? Let me know why y'all telling me Chief Rocker is the man. But they don't do that anymore. It's about, Chief Rocker hit a bunch of home runs, and Chief Rocker hit the most home runs on the third inning with 2 pitches. I don't care about that, and no one should. But guess what? We're watching because of Chief Rocker. So if we're watching because of Chief Rocker and y'all make Chief Rocker look bad, what we're going to do is take our eyes off y'all, and we're going to follow Chief Rocker on Twitter. Chief Rocker is going to say, yeah, I went 0 for 4 today, and I had 3 strikeouts. But you know what? I'm not making any excuses, but I got a bad hamstring. When you have a bad hamstring, you lose power. If you have a bad right hamstring or you're a right hitter, you lose some of your power. So balls that would be going over the fence, they pop us now. Until I get healthy, I'm going to be struggling, but I'm going to be doing my best. You don't get that anymore because people told you that's boring. But people love the Chief Rockers, the Dogs of the world, the bands from BS3. So when they come out and say, man, I'm jacked up, but I'm giving you my best, you know what that did? They made HRap love Chief Rocker, Dog, or being even more. But you don't get that in sports. You get the, he's on drugs. He beat his wife. He lazy. He this. He got an attitude. The reason he got an attitude because he would not interview with you. And the reason I'm bringing that up is only reason Stephen A. got that job is because because the Two Live Stools was blackballed in Atlanta. Ouch. Shout out to number one chief rocker Jersey Brown for that information. And it ain't hard to believe because the Two Live Stools were two of the blackest dudes in the history of TV. And that dude Doug Stewart used to slap Skip Bayless around. And if you pay attention to that show, any show that Skip Bayless has been on, when you say something bad to Skip, you're no longer on the show. Jalen Rose chopped his ass up. You ain't see Jalen Rose for a while. Jamil Hill chopped him up. Didn't see him for a while. Anytime you slap him up with the truth, you got to go. A couple years ago, James Harrison was a regular on the Skip and Shannon show. He said, yo, y'all gonna talk about anything but the Dallas Cowboys, LeBron James, and the New England Patriots? Y'all should just call this show that. We ain't seen James Harrison on that show since because my man James, God bless him, he believes that it's just marketing. I believe it's this Skip wanting to have control because Dallas Cowboys, his favorite team. Tom Brady, he's the king of the Tom Brady ball watchers. And hating on anything that's LeBron James, he does that. But guess what? LeBron James' career is about to end. And all you LeBron James haters, y'all finna be unemployed if y'all don't know how to do real report. My man Doc said, no question about it. When I can predict the play, it gives the proper analyst before the color guy that is paid to do it. That's satisfaction. Exactly. It's more fun that way. And guess what? Dumbass people on ESPN. You got brothers like Dog. You got brothers like Rocker. You got brothers like Raider. You got sisters like Jay Twice. We watching it doing the same thing. And we teaching our sons and our grandsons and our little cousins. I got a cousin named Chris who listening. Shout out to my cousin Chris. He be saying, man, how do you know what's going on? And it amazes him that I can do it. And I'm showing him things. I'm like, look, Chris used to be a basketball player. Use the same mentality you used when you were doing that at Morris Brown. Shout out to Morris Brown University. And you'll be able to do the same thing with football. It makes it more fun. But they don't want to do that. They don't care that you know. And this is what I'm saying. If we all take a step back, they would have less power. If they have less power, they must acquiesce to the players. They have to acquiesce to the players. Then we'll have a better situation. It's not because I like Shannon, but all I have to do is next Monday morning when it's time to watch Skip and Shannon. Don't listen to the words. Hear what they're saying. Listen to Shannon Sharp. Whether you agree with him or not, it's a moot point. Listen to his analytical breakdown of LeBron and listen to Skip's analytical breakdown of LeBron. One of them is Carl Thomas. The other one is a funny guy who knows what the hell he's talking about. And if you get up there and you say something disparaging, everybody, just like I said, we should stop watching the French Open. We should never go back. We need to say, hey, Skip, get your act together or we're going to boycott this show. We must get a power to the people for the reason that we watch. We have the power. I'm tired of letting other people win like that. These people, the Stephen A. Smith, the Jason Whitlocks, they are triggering you. They are there to trigger you emotionally. They should be there to uplift you and give you information and allow you to go about your own way so me and Doc can have a sports conversation, Dallas Cowboys versus the Raiders, Dallas Cowboys versus the Bears. Instead, we're going to have a conversation. How many damn times must you have a conversation if Jordan is better than LeBron and Kobe? Or Kobe is better than LeBron? LeBron is better than Kobe and Jordan? Guess who better? I'll tell y'all right now. Y'all ready? Whoever you think better. Whoever you think better is the best. There it is. There it is. You don't have to like none of them. Or how about this? How about this? Enjoy Kobe for his skill. Enjoy Michael Jordan for his ferocity and inspiring Kobe. And enjoy LeBron for what he brings. And then you can enjoy it all. Don't be a dummy. You ain't got to hate nobody. I wasn't a Kobe fan, but I love rooting against him. I wasn't a Jordan fan, but I like Isaiah Thomas on a personal level because I met him when I was 10, so I like rooting against Jordan. But I was never going to say, oh, this dude, Michael Jordan, is a B word. Really? I don't know Michael Jordan. He might be a cool guy. I've heard some jerk ass things about him. I heard some cool things about him. But I'm not going to not like somebody because they don't do things my way. If you do that, you're missing the whole show. Shout out to Barry Bonds, who said, if you all you do in regards to this, if all you do is disrespect, if you say what's wrong with me, when I'm gone, you're going to miss me. Who's the last superstar baseball had that everybody knew his name? Barry Bonds. He's been retired for almost 20 years now. So go ahead and do that. Hate and get mad at people, but you need to root against them, not hate them. They're human beings. And another, this is how I'm gonna close out this sports section segment. I bet you. Oh, you're welcome, Ready Care. People when you encourage people to hate these athletes, don't get mad when some jerk throws a water bottle at our brother Kyrie. Don't get mad when some jerk throws popcorn on Russell Westbrook. Don't get mad when somebody tries to spit on our brother because you made them less than human. Because no disrespect to anybody who thinks old school, but because he ain't playing through an injury, he ain't nothing. So when I throw popcorn, spit, and a bottle at somebody who's nothing, don't get mad. Because they're nothing, remember? He the B word. Kyrie is a P word. Remember? Because you told everybody that. And here's a news flash for y'all. I'm not rooting against our brother Kawhi because I like Kawhi Leonard. But I want the Clippers to lose. You know why? Because I want to rub it in brothers' faces. Because guess what? If Kawhi Leonard loses this series, that's going to make Luka Doncic y'all going to get y'all wish. LeBron will no longer be the face of the league, and Luka Doncic will be. And then all y'all going to hear is this. Oh, they're only doing that because he's a white guy. See, they want him to be the next Larry Bird, like Jay Ron just said. And then you're going to be sitting around with your mouth poked out because Luka Doncic is going to get all the press. But you hated on LeBron for 17 years. You could have enjoyed him. Mark my words. If the Clippers lose tomorrow, Luka Doncic will get promoted to the face of the league. And then y'all going to be mad. Oh, man, he only getting that because he's a white boy doing that. If it wasn't for him, if it wasn't a white boy, he wouldn't be getting all that. But he the B word, remember? And the Greek freak can't shoot threes. I'm 7 feet tall. Why would I get 22 feet away from the rim when I could just drop it in? When I could just bang you, go up, hit the free throw, hit the shot, and that's 3 points. And if I miss the free throw, you got a foul. If I do that 5 more times, you are a spectator, and I'm going to dominate anybody they put in front of me. Because if you put DeAndre Jordan in front of me, I'm too fast for him. If you put somebody who's equally fast to me, I'm too strong for him. See, strategy. But they don't talk about strategy anymore. They talk about what the computer said. How many computers have played basketball? None of them. So, with that being said, stop relinquishing your power. It's the premium point of what I just made. Shout out to my sister Naomi. I got one more point. Shout out to my sister Venus Williams. Venus Williams, if I wasn't already a gigantic fan, she would be number one on my fan list right now. In front of everybody know my favorite player in the world is Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. Dr. J, Reggie Jackson, Isaiah Thomas. And guess what? Guess who just got added to that list? Venus Williams. Because, see, people saw Venus Williams as docile. They saw her as a non-boat rocker. And because she's a non-boat rocker, they thought she was going to get a PC answer and dump on our young sister Naomi Osaka. Nope. So they call our sister to the podium and say, hey, Venus, the sister say that she is she had mental anguish during the press conference. What you think about that? How do you handle the mental anguish? So she was supposed to say, well, she weak, I'm strong, she need to do what she's supposed to do. Our sister Venus said, you know how I handle it? I know ain't none of y'all good enough to hold a candle to me. So whatever y'all say, thank you, brother. Whatever you say means nothing because I'm better than you. See, it's kind of like what Richard Sherman did to Skip. I'm better in life than you. And when she said that, you could have heard a rat piss on cotton in that room. See, they tried to get an aha moment because you want to bury her. And you know, this is how you know we live in a world of hypocrisy. Because mental illness is one of these warm and fuzzy topics that you can't diss nobody for. But Naomi Osaka said she was suffering from mental anguish, and y'all tried to make it into something. A gotcha moment, as our sister, Queen Mother Karen Hunter says. A gotcha moment, and you got. Shout out to Venus Williams, man. Venus Williams pretty much told the reporters that was trying to attack our sister Naomi Osaka. That's what she pretty much told them. And I'm glad she did it, because a lot of people would have took the bait and took a dump on her, like we've seen a bunch of people. Again, man, these people going to either respect these young athletes, these young brothers and sisters, or they're going to start. You're going to be listening to Bill for this network, because they're going to be in BS3 Sports and XY Radio and Trey and Maestro. You're going to be listening to their shows. And my man Vince right up there in Minnesota. They're going to be on their shows, because all we have to do is keep hustling and we can get them. I've had Kenny Anderson, Ross Strickland, Tim Thomas, Alvin, can't think his name right now. I almost said Alvin Gentry, but it ain't Alvin Gentry. I've had some stars. I've had heavyweight champion Jazz like Sal Tony on my show, Olden Polynese. So I've had people who are willing to talk to me directly. And when the Olden Polynese show was over, I had run out of time. Olden Polynese said, "That's all the time we got." He wanted to stay on. So if we continue to work hard, Rocker, Trey and Maestro, Vince Wright, Microwave, and whoever else doing the damn sport. So I got a lot on my mind right now. I can't think of everybody. As the sister Gigi say, don't charge till my head, charge to my heart. We can take over this shit. We can do it. But y'all got to be willing to do it with me. With that being said, as I close out today, I want to talk about the governance structure again. The social structure and the governance structure. How people see you, how you see yourself. The how you see yourself is the most important. Our sister, our big sister, she calls herself Auntie, whatever. Monique is a trauma parent. I hate to get on here again, man. This is going to be one of the last times I'm gonna say anything bad about somebody. And Allen Iverson used to check his ass, on a regular. Exactly. It wasn't none of that nonsense, man. Hey, see, but Allen Iverson likes him because he knew some dark things about it that he never told. But I don't care. Salute to our young brother Allen Iverson. AI, mad respect, but your boy is sucker. Our sister Monique did what Stephen A does. She told half the truth. See, what she did, she touched on some things that a lot of us look at. And we look at those things, we go, yes, that's wrong. But it's because we've been programmed, brothers and sisters. We've been programmed, myself included. Shout out to Kimmy Moody. Kimmy Moody taught me this about 14 years ago. I made a comment about dreads at the workplace. Kimmy said, why would anybody care? They just mad because they can only do their hair one way and we can do our hair a multitude of ways. And the light came on. It was like I was talking to Kimmy like this. And when she said that, it went just like that. The light came on. I was like, damn, she right. And on the surface, Monique was making all the sense of the world. On the surface. Because do you want your daughter out there with a diamond on her head, with sleepwear? Do you want your daughter out there in sleepwear at the airport? Because this is what she did. She took the concept of, at one point, you couldn't get on the airplane with gym shoes on. If y'all didn't know that. At one point in recent history, not 50 years, 60 years ago, we talking about recent history, you couldn't get on an airplane with cargo shorts on. You can get on an airport with gym shoes on. You couldn't do none of that, right? So she took that and said, see, these girls are unpresentable. They disgraceful. They don't have any pride in themselves. And I'm saying it, she said it in a real loving way. So the person who's just hearing what she's saying is going, I agree. You should be presentable like me. I got a haircut today. The beard is nice. The lineup is nice. I'm looking like a human. What society says is decent. But that don't mean my brother Doc, who got a bigger, more full beard, is not looking right. But that's Doc's expression of Doc. Right? And this is HRap's expression of HRap. But them sisters shouldn't be in there wrapped in blankets. Them sisters shouldn't be in there in sleep pants. Those sisters should be in there with them bonnets. Now, that gives you the impression that all young black women are in the airport dressed like in sleep clothes. So you going, man, sisters shouldn't do that. But guess what you just bought into, brothers and sisters? All black men. I'm a big black man. I'm a 260-pound black man. I'm scary, remember? And guess what that gets you in America? Shots or harassed by the police. Because I'm a big black man. Because a black man should be about 160 pounds. They should be about 5'10" and taller. They should be clean shaven. And they should have shirts and ties on. And that would make you less intimidating. Because then everybody around you is comfortable. But guess what? It's plenty of murderers that wear shirts and ties. Murderers, thieves, and rapists and killers, they wear shirts and ties, right? But see, Monique, what she didn't do is tell us about this. Because, hey, in my line of work, I deal with those young girls a lot. I was around one of them young girls day before yesterday. She had actually a couple of days before that whole Monique story popped off. She was a young girl with a bonnet and some sleep pants, and she was around me. And guess what I heard her talking about? That she owns a massage parlor, and she's going to have to go to the school and get some people because she has way more people who need massages than massage therapists. So this is a young lady in some sleep pants and a bonnet on her way to the airport, struggling to find people so she can make more money. Why you ain't tell nothing about that, Monique? A lot of these young girls who doing all that with the weave and the wigs, a lot of them young girls making them wigs and selling them and making about $8,000-$10,000 a month legally. But she ain't say that, Monique. But when you look around the airport, you see people from the Latino culture or the Latin culture or the Spanish culture, whatever you want to call them, our brothers. You see people from the European cultures. They got on the same thing, but Monique didn't say that. Guess something else. Monique want these young ladies. Listen to the hypocrisy of our sister Monique. Monique, 3 years ago, came back into the spotlight because she was talking about how the very system that she want our young sisters to adhere to blackballs her. So, Doc never wants HRap to come on forecast with a Nike t-shirt. Nike mistreats Doc. But you know what, HRap, you should only wear Nike t-shirts because that's what podcasters do. Doc wouldn't do that. You know why? Because Doc understands that you aren't what you wear and how you present yourself. You are who you are. Don't catch me in a moment because we've seen Halle Berry in sweatpants all out in the world, and she's quote unquote the finest thing walking. We done seen all those superstars. I done seen the sister, the queen of pop, Beyonce, with the flip flop joints, hat bent, no makeup, hair all over her head. Well, nobody saying nothing about her. I had a joke that I was passing around. Everybody on Little House in the Prairie wore a bonnet, didn't nobody say nothing. But What you didn't do, Monique, is address the fact that a lot of those young sisters that's on those planes going on vacation because they working their asses off, owning their own businesses. Why you say that, Monique? Those sisters out here becoming entrepreneurs. And no, they're not adhering to the system. Because you know what? They're going to be a bunch of N-words with a whole bunch of money. And they know it. So who cares if I got on, if I'm dressed to the nines, I speak the king's English to the queen's taste. Now, that's a small portion of the population that's dressing and acting like that. So why would you give people who create tropes about our community fuel to the fire? I said this last Tuesday, and Monique, if you really care, you're on tour right now. Why don't you, those same urban young ladies that you talked about, they come to your shows and support you. Why don't you make that? You're a comedian. You could have made fun of those young sisters and made it a part of your act. And guess what? Those young sisters would have walked out of your show going, that was funny, but yeah, we need to step it up. And you know, hey, what I notice about young people, you say something about the way they look, the next time you see them, they're going to be sharp as a butcher knife. Just to show you, I'm shining. You don't see what they call it, drip. You don't see my drip. You don't see my drip. But instead, you chose, and if you really cared, Monique, you did it in the confines of a comedy stage. Those urban people would have come to seeing you. That word would have trickled around, and those sisters would have stepped up and showed out for you. But instead, they handled it the way they handled. Salute to those sisters that told you, shut the hell up. And then you come back with another response. And then you come back with a third video. Brothers, sisters, ladies, gentlemen, haters, and bitter friends, this is why I call our sister Monique a trauma pimp. Monique is making about, I get this direct from an honest source. Our sister, our queen, sister Queen, Mother Karen Hunter. $40K a month Monique might be making off her YouTube page. How you gonna tell me to dress up at the airport and you sitting your behind on YouTube in a damn robe? I got a robe like that right in my bedroom. I could have did the show in it and been like making fun of Monique, but that's not my goal. My goal is to uplift us. My goal is to make us look better. And Monique, if you really cared about those sisters, you'd have did it on your form, on a one-on-one with that same mother love. And those sisters, thank you, dog. I dress comfortably when I fly. That's what my brother Dog just said. And those same sisters that you call yourself uplifting, you wouldn't have got their money, but you'd have got their respect, and they would have packed comedy clubs for you. See, it's a reason guys like Corey Holcomb can say words like the B word and the H word and say all this stuff about people, and people still support him because you know what? He's making fun of them. He's also attempting to uplift. It's a reason Richard Pryor could speak his truth. It's a reason Paul Mooney could speak his truth. It's a reason George Carlin, this is one of the most religious countries in the world. George Carlin could be anti-religious, unlike that suspected white supremacist, in my opinion, Bill Maher. And people still love George Carlin. God rest his soul. It's a reason guys like that can address social issues, uplift people, knock down their beliefs, and people still love them. Because it's not what you say, it's how you deliver it. It's not what you say, it's how you deliver it. And she gave you the honey and the sweeties and the babies, but she was backstabbing you because she wanted you to come to her, she wanted you to come to her YouTube page. And just for the record, let's go to the Monique YouTube page before I sign off, and I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to show you what I mean. We're going to go to the Monique YouTube, MONQE. YouTube page, bonnet, comment. Yep. Watch this, people. Watch this. The Monique page. Here we go. Monique drops bomb. Let's look at it. Oh, wow. She got 380,000 subscribers. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Somebody else got 380,000 subscribers. Let's go to the Monique page. Monique. Let's go to her page. I'm going to find the Monique page. And you got a bunch of people taking shots at her. Tammy Rowland, Ricky Smiley, a whole bunch of people taking shots at the sister Monique. Oh, wow. That page has, y'all ready for this? That one video had 280,000 views. 280,000 views. Which probably, again, like Queen Mother Karen Hunter said, about $80,000 a month. $40,000 a month. But that's one video. So she got a bunch of videos doing that. She pimping our trauma, y'all. I'm not saying don't support the sister Monique, but this is what I said earlier. We talk about these sports shows. Stop participating in the destruction of people in your community. Very few people in our community sell drugs. Very few people in our community own drugs. Very few people in our community committing crimes. Even if you are a hardened criminal, most people that you know get up and go to work every day. Even if you're a hardened criminal, if you're a drug addict, most people that you know don't get high. Therefore, when you allow them to program you like, watch this, I'm going to do it again. Drive-by shootings, what you think of? You thought Crips and Bloods. When somebody say drive-by shootings, you think Crips, Bloods, gangbangs. Don't nobody think Al Capone, Frank Nitti, Lucky Luciano, and all those dudes who was doing it 100 years ago. Y'all don't think that because you've been programmed to think we're bad. We're not bad. We're just highlighting. And again, what Africans can do, Africans will do. We built Black Wall Street. We built Wilmington, North Carolina. We built that damn White House. We built the Washington Monument. We built the Lincoln Memorial. We built the Capitol Hill. We built that. We created pockets. My brother Ivan has built his own industry. Me and Ben and Chief Rocker and Knox, we built our own thing. The XY people built their own thing. Bob Johnson built BET. So we can do it too. So take a page out to those bonnet wearing girls and start your own business. You're good at something. You're good at something. You are good at something. So take that something, get some people behind you, and as KRS One says, the only reason what you're doing is valid is because somebody behind you said you were good. These are the words of KRS One. If you go into a record label and say I'm dope, and they gonna say, why you think you dope? Because Ivan said I'm dope. They'll believe Ivan because they don't know anything. And you become dope because somebody say you good. If you're a good cook food, hand it to your friends. Wilson fired the grill. Me, Dolph, and Ben say that. He's a monster cooker. Now that makes Wilkes a great cooker. Not because what somebody in the power structure said, it's because the people who around him said. Do not allow. So when you allow people to say you're a criminal, when you allow people to say you're a degenerate, those people don't know you, so what they're saying is not valid. Now, the people who do know you work hard, Black community. You're a spiritual community. You're a loving community. You're a forgiving community. You are a persevering community. So, as my man Drew McCaskill will say, you can break these fingers, but ain't nobody ever broke their fists. So get together so we can fight with this. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you everybody who tuned in, everybody who's going to tune in, everybody who's going to tune in next week. Please subscribe to Built for This Network on Spreaker.com. Please subscribe to the endofthebench.com. Go to the endofthebench.com and subscribe there. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to that. Subscribe to iTunes and every place you can get us. Thank you for tuning in. This is your man HRap B, and y'all already know I send a salute out to Reggie O'Shea, aka Comeback Jack. He's the ancestor. Now dream those dreams and man up and one up and live those dreams, because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in Technicolor surround sound. I also want to send a shout out to Baba Greg Carr, Queen Mother Karen Hunter, Elder Joe Madison, Read Down Your Favors, Clay Thompson, Handler B, Al Sharpton, Craig Fax, Corey Holcomb, Zoe Williams, Ray Grady, Tariq Nasheed, Nori, Talib Kweli, and anybody else who's doing inspirational work to uplift people and not drag them down. Thank you for tuning in. And as I say at the end of every show, don't be mad because you're not me. Don't be mad because you can't do what I can. Like Jordan went up, took that shot and switched hands. Don't be mad because you're not me. I'm the freaking poster boy, and I'm HRap B. And with that being said, it is 2 fingers. It is 1 word. I messed up. With that being said, With that being said, again, don't be mad because you can't do what I can. Like when Jordan went up, took that shot, and switched hands. Don't be mad because you're not me. I'm the freaking poster boy, and I'm HRap B, and